want to go do the work that I'm about ready to go do if I didn't need the money? Probably not. Do I have other kinds of dreams? Yeah, I've been wrestling with this for a while. This place of in-between.
Tell us about your work. What you'll be doing.
I'll be driving all over the eastern part of this county all summer long, where it doesn't hardly get below 90 degrees, and I'll be looking to connect with people that aren't so sure they want to live at all. Working as a, what they call a therapist.
What do you mean about these people not so sure they want to live?
Well, a lot of people find this life kind of hard and get to a point where they don't see any way of making a change or doing something different, finding satisfaction. So, do whatever, string themselves out on drugs and or try to kill themselves in some way or another. So they wind up in the hospital, psychiatric emergency services, and after a little while they wind up back out on the street somewhere. And then the cycle repeats. So they want to bring me and some other people in to see if we cannot break that cycle. To maybe find something for these people that they can see the possibility that this life really has potentially to offer. There is something precious about this moment, isn't there? I mean, holy smokes, you know? I sometimes think there's, you know, a lot of people maybe, or souls or spirits or whatever you want to call them, that worked really hard to get down here on planet Earth. Because this is like maybe the best thing anywhere. The best possibility anywhere, this big, beautiful green planet. But then things get twisted around, right? Anyway.
So, as far as the question of doing whatever you could do if money was no issue, what is the $5 million question on your life? As far as what you're going to be doing for your job here, and what you would be doing. Would you be doing anything similar to what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah?
You know?
Tell me about it. Your vision.
I've worked with people that are having a hard time, and I've always learned something and felt really grateful that I somehow got to know these people, and usually it seems like they feel grateful that they've gotten to know me, and maybe there's some kind of little change that's being made. And I've wondered about since I was a teenager, how am I going to help facilitate change on this planet? And there's so many different ways to answer that, but that's always the question for me. But I have fantasies and dreams of other things too. And aside from operating my own private practice and working with all kinds of different clients, oh yeah, I have dreams, fantasies of things that I haven't really pursued, like what would it be like to be on the big screen? What would it be like to write my novel? What would it be like to have really pursued my photography, which is something that people have said since I was a teenager was really exceptional? And my writing, for that matter. And what would it be like to get on a sailboat? I've dreamed and fantasized about getting on a sailboat and traveling the oceans.
As long as there's plenty of loonies on the boat, you'd be fine.
Plenty of loonies?
Yeah.
You know, I've done a lot of boating, rafting on rivers for a long stretch as well, meaning like, you know, as long as 2 weeks at a time. Who's on the boat is really important. There's a story of this guy that went down on a trip on the Colorado, and he wasn't liking so much who he was with. And halfway through the trip, he carried his kayak from the bottom up to the top rim. He said, "I'm done. I'm out of here. This is no fun."
Were you on that trip?
No.
No. Just it's a legend.
It's a legend. One of the legends. So, Yeah, no, there's a pit in my stomach, but it is something to do with, what do they call it? The existential tightrope-torture machine. Stretching. What am I here for? Is there a purpose? What is my purpose? How do I make it meaningful? I was in a class, Death, Dying, and Grieving, and the first assignment was to write about what we fear most around dying. And for me, it was an easy answer. I began to write instantly. It was that I feared that I would have somehow betrayed life. So then the question becomes, how do you live your life so that it is not a betrayal, but an honoring of this gift? And on some days I feel like I am successful at honoring the gift of this life that I've been given, and on other days I feel like I have not. My fears play too much of a role in limiting my freedom to be and flow, to say hello, and maybe more. So, we're all doing the best we can, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to dance it out?
Sometimes to move the body and to dance is louder than the words.
Let's give you an opportunity.
Because everybody likes the woman that's a rainbow. And the rainbow that's in here.
That's good.
Oh,